Welcome back. A grammatical problem that has defeated Sanskrit scholars since the 5th century BC has finally been cracked. It was solved by an Indian PhD student at Cambridge University. Rishi Rajpopat decoded a text written by a master of the ancient Sanskrit language, Panini, who lived about 2,500 years ago. A traditional interpretation of a meta rule taught by Panini was rejected by Rishi. It took him almost 3 years to solve that problem and prove his point. And he joins me on this broadcast live, the man who's made history by cracking what no scholars for years together, for centuries together, have managed to do that. And Rishi Rajpopat, thank you so much for joining us here on CNN News 18. And let me begin by congratulating you for finally having your Eureka moment. It's a puzzle that has eluded people for centuries together. We're given to understand before you actually had your Eureka moment, it was at least 9 months that you had put in place to figure out what exactly was the problem and what could have been the solution. For our viewers who have absolutely no idea about what this is, if you could put in perspective for us what exactly the problem was and how you came upon the solution.
Thank you very much for your wishes. Am I audible?
Yes, go ahead, Rishi.
Hello?
Rishi, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Rishi, if you can hear me, you're audible and you're on the air.
Okay, lovely. So, thank you very much for your wishes. So, Panini has come up with this grammar of 4,000 rules, basically. What these 4,000 rules do is together they function as a machine, which helps us construct any word of Sanskrit, and subsequently you can put those words together to form Sanskrit sentences as well. But what happens, so how do we do these word constructions? You start with a root word, and then you add a suffix to it, and then at each step of the derivation, you apply one rule at a time. And then eventually, the idea is that this machine is supposed to help you produce grammatically correct forms. However, what happens in Paninian derivations often is that at certain steps, two rules become simultaneously applicable. Now, the question is, which of these two rules do you choose? Panini has given us one rule, which teaches us how to choose between these two simultaneously applicable rules. But the first scholar to comment on it, as you said, misunderstood that rule, and all the subsequent scholars to comment on this treatise also went ahead with that misinterpretation. That created problems, and that gave us all kinds of grammatically incorrect forms at the end of derivation, so the machine was not working properly. What I did essentially at Cambridge is I reinterpreted this one rule of Panini, which helped us then get the machine to work perfectly and to give us only and only grammatically correct outputs.
Right. So what are the applications that are going to be further on? Because this is an algorithm that would work like any other algorithm as far as computers or machines are concerned. So what are the applications that we could see in the future because of this?
So one of the fundamental things that we've achieved here is that we found, as you said, an algorithm which is really simple. It's elegant, simple, and easily teachable because of its simplicity. What I'm hoping will happen is that we will be able to use this algorithm to teach the grammar of Panini in its entirety for the first time to the computer. And once we've done that, combining the intent of the speaker or the speaker's intention and this grammar, the computer will be able to produce, through this derivational approach, human speech, of course, in Sanskrit. And that, I think, would be a milestone, not just in the intellectual history of India, but more generally in the history of human interaction with machines.
Absolutely. And we're seeing how the world is opening up to Sanskrit as well. So this definitely is going to help all those who are wanting to take a peek in that window.
Sorry?
The Sanskrit language is opening up to the world. We're seeing several people outside of India as well warming up, wanting to learn. So this definitely is going to open up avenues for all those people, and it's going to make it much easier.
I certainly do hope that this will only contribute to the growing interest in Sanskrit and in the ancient and rich civilizational heritage of India. And I think that when someone realizes, when someone from a different country realizes that 2,500 years ago, such a fantastic language machine could be produced in India, there's a lot to look into, and there's a lot to explore about this country. So I feel really happy that this will leave a very positive impact not just about what India is today, but also what it was in the distant past among people of other countries and cultures.
Absolutely. And talking about how you actually reached at creating this history, we're given to understand that it was at least a 9-month-long process before it actually hit you of what the problem could have been, and you went back to the drawing board.
So yeah, actually I spent 9 months, and I found absolutely nothing in those 9 months. So I decided to take 1 month off, and what I did essentially is just the things I enjoy. So I hung out with my friends, I went swimming, I cooked, I read other things which are completely unrelated to my doctoral research. I went cycling and so on and so forth. I prayed and meditated as well. And so, of course, what I was hoping to do is to refuel by taking this month off from work, and also to be able to go back and look at things from a new, fresh perspective rather than the same old way I was looking at it every day. And surely enough, after a month, I went back to work begrudgingly because I was still not in a mood to go back to work, but I did. And the moment so what I did is essentially I opened the first notebook which was at the top of the stack on my table, and it had all the derivations written by me. So it was a notebook, and as I flipped the pages, within minutes the patterns became absolutely clear to me. They almost revealed themselves to me, I could say. And at that point I knew that I had found what I needed, not just to, of course, finish my PhD, which I knew I would be able to do, but much more importantly, to solve this absolutely fascinating, nail-biting and challenging but very enjoyable problem.
Rishi, congratulations on scripting history, on being able to crack a code that has been eluding scholars for centuries now. And good luck for your future endeavors. And thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. With that, it's a wrap from me on this edition of The Right Stand. Zaka Jacob joins you next.